I can't really say I do either.
On the recording. All right, so good afternoon, everybody. I know we are literally a week and a day away from Christmas and the holidays, and I'm sure many of you are hopefully taking some time off or at least relaxing in the next week or two as the new year approaches. But I'm excited to share some news with you if Amy hasn't already shared it already. But Amy is our new Northern Virginia program manager at Serving Together. And so Amy will be taking over these Fort Belvoir Community Collaborative meetings moving forward in partnership with Mary at Red Cross. And so excited to have her introduce herself. Obviously, I always like to start our meetings where we have the chance to introduce who you are, if you have, what organization you're with, any connection, military veteran, if you have that yourself, we encourage you to share that. And yeah, maybe for this meeting, we'll just share what you guys are looking forward to in the new year. So I will start. I'm Christy Kennedy. I'm the director of Serving Together, which is part of a nonprofit organization called EveryMind. Serving Together obviously works in the National Capital Region to build capacity for organizations like yourselves to better serve our military and veteran population. We do so through community collaboratives like these, but also through care coordination to coordinate care for all of our military and veterans, getting them to organizations like yourself as quickly and efficiently as possible. And we also do community education as well. So we help to educate the community on the needs of our military veterans so that they can better serve them. I am a military spouse. My husband is Air Force. So we have been in the National Capital Region forever now, 6.5 years, and absolutely love this area and love this work. In 2021, there's so much I'm looking forward to. I will have to say that with a vaccine coming out and possibilities for us to be able to meet again in person, one of these days is what I'm looking forward to. I'm also really looking forward to being able to travel more and go reschedule my trip to Mexico that I was supposed to do in May and get some nice sun on the beach in the Riviera Maya area. One day soon, hopefully this year. Awesome. So I want Amy to introduce herself and share a little bit more about who she is.
Well, I was speaking to lots of you. I am super excited to be taking over as the program manager for the Northern region here in Virginia. And most of you know what Christy was doing before. I have some big boots to fill. But I'm just super thrilled to be part of this amazing team, being able to support our veterans and our families. I am a former active duty spouse. My husband retired about a year ago after 30 years. And so now I'm definitely in the veteran space, learning that. I think one of the biggest things that I am looking forward to for 2021 is being able to just enjoy being in other people's company without the fear of how close I am. I enjoy being with others. And one thing I really can't wait is to be able to do the collaboratives in person so that there is not this, we know social distancing is so important right now, but it's hard. And I am a super social person, so not being able to meet you all in person is a challenge, but I'm really looking forward to working with Mary and being able to take over the collaborative and just be able to connect with lots of great resources in this community. So it's simple, but it's really what I want is to be able to be back in person again. So it's such a pleasure to meet all of you. And I look forward to getting to know you in the next couple months.
Awesome. Thanks, Amy. I want to turn it over to Mary, the co-chair for this meeting.
Hi, everybody. Happy holidays. I mean, what'd we say? A week and a day? Yeah, a week and a day until Christmas. Again, I'm Mary Santini. I work for the American Red Cross Service Armed Forces. So all of the programs for military, veterans, and family members at our hospital here at Fort Belvoir, on Fort Belvoir, and on Quantico. That all falls under me. So we're trying to take care of all military related issues. So I am the spouse of a Army veteran who, of course, retired and went back to work for the Army. So we've been here at Fort Belvoir for quite a few years now. What am I looking most forward to in 2021? The obvious, like seeing everybody in person, getting to do these meetings in, community space again instead of virtual. But also like getting to see family, like with so many who are military or veteran, like a lot of times don't live near family. So, and that's the case with us. So I'm looking forward to that. So hand it back to Christy.
Awesome. Thanks, Mary. Yeah, I normally travel to Texas for Christmas, but we decided to cancel this year just because of everything that's going on. So I feel you on that. I'd love to be able to go and see family. Raisa, do you want to go next?
Sure. Well, my name is Raisa Velez. I work for Brain Injury Services. We provide case management, counseling, occupational therapy, vocational rehab services to our clients. And we, of course, our clients are individuals who have a history of brain injury, whether that be traumatic or acquired. Yeah, here at your service. Oh, and I am a veteran as well. I served in the military for 5 years before getting out, and my husband is still in the military, so that's what brings us to the Northern Virginia area. So yeah.
Awesome. Thank you, Raisa. And I love your background. It's so festive and just makes me smile.
This is the meeting before Christmas, so I should step it up. Even look at the headband. It's also festive.
Definitely. I love it. That's perfect. Beth, do you want to go next? By the way, I'm loving your blouse.
I was going to say, like, Christy, I feel so connected to you right now. I'm very proud. This is great.
I love it.
So my name is Beth Schmidt. I am the DC Alumni Manager for Wounded Warrior Project. I cover the Virginia, Maryland, Delaware, and DC area with my primary focus on Walter Reed. So I'm your primary POC. I know you guys are usually blessed with Ben Sampson and his lovely Australian flair, but unfortunately he's taken some time, unfortunately for us, he's taken some time to enjoy his brand new baby boy, which is good for him. I promise I'm not bitter by that whatsoever. But so you guys are stuck with me today. But if those of you who don't know, Wounded Warrior Project, we're a nationwide and OCONUS organization that does help to honor and empower wounded warriors that are incurred illness, injury, or wound in connection with their post 9/11 service. I myself am a Marine Corps veteran and a medically retired vet. So that's sort of how I got involved with Wounded Warrior Project and then joined the team. What I am oddly looking forward to in the new year, outside of working with my patients on the inpatient wards in Walter Reed, which, as you can imagine, we've restricted from doing so, is high fives. It's so cheesy, but I miss just like a good solid high five and a hug from time to time. But I deeply miss that level of connection. So I'm looking forward to eventually in person on Belvoir high-fiving each and every one of you. Thank you so much.
I love it, Beth. I'm air high-fiving you now. One day, again, in person, we'll be able to high-five. I love it.
And to that, Mary, please tell Sammy I miss her.
I will share that with her.
Is she not with Wounded Warrior anymore? Oh
no, she left Wounded Warrior in. Sorry, everyone. Sammy is my daughter, and she was working with Wounded Warrior Project for about 5.5 years, and she just left in September.
Okay. She left a massive hole. Our warriors miss her for sure. She was absolutely amazing and did so many great things for mental health. So please pass her our best.
Thank you. I will.
Awesome. Sergio, I know you're going to be doing a presentation here in a little bit, but do you want to introduce yourself to the group?
Yeah, my name's Sergio Rangel. I'm the Vice President for Black Horse Forge. We're a recent veteran service organization to kind of help, I guess the quick down and dirty is that we help veterans, active duty, first responders and their family members learn the art of blacksmithing and bladesmithing, all for free. They come in with an idea, And if they don't have an idea, we help them with an idea. What I like about it, and I'll talk about a little bit more during the presentation, is that it's different than any other veteran service organization. You get that social aspect, but you also get to walk away with something tangible, something you've put yourself into. It's really cool that people have brought in pieces of shrapnel that they've, got in their body as well. They've brought it in and we've created stuff with it, knives, hooks, things like that. So it's really cool. That's what really brought me to the forge. And just because I've put myself into it, my family has actually come a part of it as well. I've grown into one. I became part of a board member, and then I recently became vice president. So.
Awesome. Congratulations on becoming vice president, and
Thank you.
excited to have you here today. Maria Jose, you want to go next?
Hello, good morning, everyone. I'm happy to be here today. My name is Maria Jose Cantoni. I am the director of the Financial Empowerment Center at South County in Alexandria. We offer free financial education, counseling sessions to improve your financial situation, small business consultation as well, tax preparation, and workforce development. Our services are open to everyone, are free, and we are working online right now. So again, that is even easier for people to access our services. The things that I think most looking forward for next year, I will echo Amy to see people in person, not having not be afraid to be too close or not too close. And the other thing was going to Christy travel. I really miss that. So hopefully 2021 is going to be the year. Hang in there.
I love it. I love it. Yes, we're hoping for brighter next year, definitely. Yolanda, do you want to go next?
Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Yolanda Rayford, Senior Career Coach, Easter Seals Veteran Staffing Network. It is my motto, do what you love and you'll never work a day in your life. And so it is my honor and privilege to provide coaching services to a wide gamut of those in need, to include caregivers, military transitioners, veterans of any era, as well as others who have various barriers to employment. We are fully 100% virtual. And so since March, when I was hired at the very beginning of the pandemic, I've been on Zoom and other platforms. Easter Seals Veteran Staffing Network is part of the larger Easter Seals. So if you look at Easter Seals across the continental US, the VSN, however, is involved with recruitment. So the underpinning of our organization is that we are a staffing agency. So I certainly encourage everyone to, send your people, if they have a job need for employment. My role with coaching, however, takes them through a variety of things. My apologies, Amazon and the dog. It's a time of season, Angie just gets really wound up. At any rate, coaching services, career assessment, federal employment, what is it that you want to do? And all of that, I must say, and that is leveraging a variety of opportunities. So since I began in March, I have had the distinct honor to work with a variety of organizations like Operation Homefront, Wounded Warrior, USO, et cetera, and provide guest speaking services where we deliver workshops. That led into the design of the VSN Tuesday Talks. Those are going to start again. We had one this week. It will start again. I can share my information in the chat, but on the 5th of January, we're going to have a discussion about how to stay motivated in the job search. The next week is going to be an employer panel. What are employers looking for in this veteran population space, and on it goes. And so what I'm looking most forward to in 2021, I'm going to be really selfish and superficial. I'd like to go to see a play. I'm sorry. I just want to get on the train, go to New York, and do that sort of thing. I also want to hug and kiss and love on my grandchildren. I have family in New York, a baby that was born in April. And so and they were born in New Rochelle at the height of the pandemic. So you know what I mean? And so, yeah, I miss all of that. We had an 80 year celebration birthday party for my mother. That was a drive-by, and it was my job to mask her, double mask her, gloves, the whole thing. And she's 80, and I had to say, stop, no, don't touch her, don't touch and that sort of thing. And so I am excited about what 2021 is going to hold. And I'm also excited to see what 2021 is going to hold as we go into the whole redesign of what I believe is going to be the workforce as we see some of the significant changes as we go through the process. So thank you, Christy. It's always a pleasure. Amy, congratulations.
Yay. Thanks, Yolanda. And just amazing work that Yolanda does. I talk her up and down because I utilized her to help me get this job as director of Serving Together. And I'll tell you that I cannot give a better recommendation. If you guys are trying to excel in your careers, you want to take that next step to become the next level in your organization, Yolanda is phenomenal career coach, just absolutely phenomenal. So highly recommend you connecting with her if you can. Amy Harris, do you want to go next?
Thank you. Just had to unmute myself. So Amy and Christy, both of you, congratulations. That is fantastic. And Yolanda also has been phenomenal. I've been doing a lot of referrals to her, and I will be reaching out to you, Yolanda. I had no idea you did all of that. So thank you. I'll be hopping off at 1 o'clock because I have another call that I have to hop on, unfortunately. I was really bummed that they scheduled it for today because I really enjoy these collaboratives. And one thing that I am hoping that 2021 will bring is the in-person collaboratives. When I was told and assigned these collaboratives, I was really thrilled. And they asked me, which one do I want to do, the Fairfax one or the Fort Belvoir? And I immediately chose Fort Belvoir. I love the Army installation a lot more than the Marine Corps ones by far. So I am a Marine veteran. I'm married to a Marine veteran. I only did 4 years. One thing that I am looking forward to 2021 is potentially going back to school. I'd like to get my master's, and I am not sure yet in what, but I am ready to go back to school. I'm hoping that the kids with the vaccine, I'll be able to get them back in school so that I can go back to school. That's what I'm looking forward to. And hopefully with the vaccine, no more masks. That's what I'm looking forward to. Not having to social distance, not having to worry about not being able to go to the gym, not being able to worry about our children and not being able to see family. The isolation is really hard. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks, Amy. Exciting that you want to go back to school. Pumped to hear what you decide to do that in.
Thank you.
Awesome. Mary Mahoney.
Hi, I'm Mary Mahoney from Operation Homefront. I am the wife of a Marine veteran, and Operation Homefront, we help transition for my program in Operation Homefront. We help transitioning service members who are ill, wounded, or injured transition out of the service and into civilian life. We provide, this is in Gaithersburg, we provide rental property with utilities included, and we have financial counseling and groups and things like that. We have 2 vacancies, so if you know of any transitioning service members who either either ill, wounded, or injured, please send them our way. We also have vacancies for our transitional homes for community integration. There's a home in Virginia that is up, that is open, and I would love to send everybody a 1-pager about it so that you can refer people to that program. It's very good for getting people to a level of stability, which is what Operation Homefront works towards. It's nice to be in this group of people who understand what it's like to be a military spouse or in the military where you're living away from family. I never thought about that But it's nice to be around a group of people who feel the same way, because I'm here in Maryland and my family is all in New Jersey, and it's hard to be away. So I look forward to that time when we can be together. I did get COVID. I am recovering. So when I stumble with my words, there's something called COVID brain. I just had an appointment with my doctor and he said it's real. So if I ask a really stupid question, please have patience with me. I do know my job, but it's kind of alarming where I am forgetting things. But in general, it's okay. And it never went to my lungs and the family is fine. And we have no idea how we got it. But we did when there was a surge out here in Carroll County. We were part of that surge. So everybody just stay safe and take care of yourselves. Thanks.
Thanks, Mary. And I hope that that doesn't last long. Maybe it's just a temporary effect, but send in prayers your way for recovery on that.
Thank you. It's alarming. I got lost on the way to work. No lie. I convinced myself, I'm like, that's not my turn. And I went 15 minutes late.
Wow.
It's a little alarming, and I'm making jokes about it, but there's moments, and it gets worse when I'm stressed. So I think this time of year, I'm just going to be a big mess for a little while. So thanks for the prayers.
Yeah, well, hang in there. And yeah, it's crazy the repercussions that are coming out of this COVID. So sorry to hear that, but hopefully it's just temporary. Let's see, Kristen, I know you're going to be presenting here in a little bit, but do you want to introduce yourself?
I had to find a button to unmute myself. I don't usually use Teams, so I'm a little lost with all of the buttons. My name is Kristen Benson. I work for the Traumatic Brain Injury Center of Excellence, which was formerly DIVBIC. We're now TBI COE. I work primarily with active duty. I work with the MTS. I work with the branch clinics. I do clinical education on the assessment and management of traumatic brain injury. And I also teach I teach patients kind of coping and educate them about TBI as a whole. I also provide their family with resources and also kind of teach their family what is to be expected with either mild traumatic brain injury or something where we see kind of a more chronic progression of disease. So I'm really happy to be here. I'm going to try to make the presentation as relevant to this particular organization as I can. There are a couple of you that I'm going to be looking for your contact information in the, Ms. Velez for sure. I'm going to be looking for your contact information so I can get up with you so we can do some collaboration. That'll be really great. And in terms of 2021, I got to tell you, my coping mechanism so far has just been to take it one day at a time. So right now I'm looking forward to my Chick-fil-A sandwich that is on the way. And that's about as far as I have gotten in terms of projecting my happiness any further, into the future. But I am testing to get my license for social work. I miss being a clinician quite a lot. So I'm stoked about that. And that's in January. So
Awesome.
Great to meet everyone. I'm happy to be here.
Thanks, Kristen. And girl, I love me some Chick-fil-A. So I'm right there.
Right.
And yeah, Raisa wants some Chick-fil-A now too.
Yeah.
Love it.
You have to run out of here after this.
Right? I know it's a lunch meeting, so it's like, I want my food. I want to eat. Chris Duffley, are you there?
I am here. I am in my winter wonderland. Good to see everybody here. I'm Chris Duffley. I'm with the American Red Cross and the National Capital Greater Chesapeake region. We serve Maryland, Delaware, DC, and Northern Virginia. And I get to work with Mary, which is great. I'm an Air Force veteran, so I feel like we needed a little more blue on this panel. We've had a lot of green and a lot of Marines. Let's see. I mean, y'all know Mary, so y'all know what we do. In particular, we have a big presence at Fort Belvoir. But outside of that, we have our Hero Care Network, which is our Red Cross emergency messaging. And so if service members deployed has an emergency, call the Red Cross, and we work to validate that information and work with the service aid societies to help get funding to get people home in the event of an emergency. We also have our resiliency program, our free confidential 60 to 90-minute workshops, and we've worked with a lot of folks, including Wounded Warrior Project and Operation Homefront, and serving together to do workshops in the past. So appreciate all the great partnership. We've got several new workshops out now, one on creating calmness, one for teens, and then one for parents and teens together, that are all sort of stress management, coping skills focused. So happy to share more information on that. And really, that's about all I have. I am looking forward to 2021, and congratulations also to Christy and Amy. Glad to have you to work with again, Amy, in a different capacity. So it's going to be fun.
Awesome. Thanks, Chris. And I'm loving your winter wonderland background. I don't know about you guys, but I live in Alexandria and we barely got a dusting of snow yesterday. So I was super jealous.
In Chantilly, we got like maybe 3 inches, but then the rain came and now it's just a sheet of ice. So there's that.
Yeah, I have several coworkers. I know Mary, you're up in Carroll County. I have coworkers up in Carroll and Frederick County that were like, oh yeah, we got tons of snow. And we got nothing. So lots of ice now. Yep. Awesome. Richard, are you there?
Yeah, how you doing today?
Good. How are you?
It's wonderful. And I live in Alexandria and I got no snow also. So my name is Richard Lane. I'm the Veterans Law Paralegal with Legal Services in Northern Virginia. I primarily work in the Discharge Upgrade Clinic, which we help veterans with their discharge upgrades throughout Virginia. But primary purpose of the organization is the civil legal needs of the low income and at-risk community in Northern Virginia. I was asked to make sure to remind everyone again that if someone's worried about losing their home, that there are laws in place and the laws are changing, they shouldn't, they should call legal services or someone and see what they can do to stay in their home this winter. We don't want a lot of homeless people running around. I'm a Navy veteran myself. 2021, I didn't have COVID, but I had some anxiety and depression issues this year. If I start stuttering, that's the tell that it's hitting me right now. And I hope we spend 2021 solving our problems and save rehashing 2020 for 2022. How does that sound?
That sounds great, Richard.
And I got to leave at 1. I'm sorry.
Okay, no worries. I know lots of things going on, but glad that you're here for when you can be. That's awesome. Neil Goodman, are you there?
Yeah, and after Mary said that she gets lost on the way to work, so do I, and I work from home. So, you know how that works. Melikaliki Maka, Christy, and soon Makahili Ho. Glad to be here. And I also will be probably trying to leave a little after 1. I want to rejoin that RX Relax yoga class, which we're really enjoying, which you put out there for us. So thank you for that. My website is neil9.com, Kneel. I've worked with Mary and Julie Riggs and others doing stress management classes, probably for over 30 years in hospitals, at the jails, more recently at Fort Belvoir when I could, and mostly with larger groups with seniors at GMU and other groups across the street, which I'm locked out now. Sunrise Senior Center for me. I live right across from Fair Oaks Hospital. So kind of trying to do a virtual with them, and we'll see how that goes. And the same with the jail, because I've been locked out of the jail, kind of, sort of, for, since March, but we'll see if I can do virtual with them too. So my focus is on not just mindfulness, which was the foundation of what I do, but more so heart math, and specifically the heart coherence procedure from the Heart Math Institute in California, and emotional freedom technique, EFT, which has been approved, as you know, for VA hospitals across the nation back in 2017. So my main focus is that. And I'm enjoying the smaller groups. I'm working one-on-ones now with 1 or 2 families, and I'm continuing to do 2 or 3 classes with them, depending on the need. That's where my focus, I think, will be in 2021. So if you have a veteran that is very stressed out, anxious, post-traumatic stress, even though after my name, I have NCW, which stands for no credentials whatsoever, as my wife would say, no clue whatsoever. I do have a slight clue on stress. And I've been really able to help people, especially with emotional freedom techniques and heart math, which is kind of, it's been around for 30 years, but it's kind of new to a lot of people. Very powerful, and it fits right into mindfulness. So that's my focus for 2021, is doing more of the private sessions, and because I have time. Something about that. I don't understand why I have so much time, but it's just part of the process. So glad to be with you all, and happy holidays.
Thanks, Neil, and always appreciate what you do. Always give a smile to my face with any comments that you have. So I love it. Kathy Andrews, are you there?
Can you hear me?
Yes.
Yeah. Yes, I'm Kathy Andrews. I'm with the Virginia Department of Veteran Services, the Fort Belvoir office. We assist veterans with filing claims for compensation. Our sister agency within our department is VVFS. And so we reach out to veterans and organizations within our community to provide veterans with the resources that they may need. Right now, we're working remotely, but I am still available Monday through Friday, either by telephone, email, or even mail. We have veterans sending things through the mail if they need to get claims or information, or we need to get that information out to them. And as others have said, what I'm looking forward to in the future is just being able to reconnect with family, to touch, hug, play, do all that stuff that we haven't been able to do in the last 11 months. So that's what I'm really looking forward to.
Awesome. Thanks, Kathy. And so glad you're here. We also have someone that called in. Last four digits, 2417. Are you there? All right, no worries. So we'll go ahead and move on, and excited to introduce our first speaker for this afternoon. We have Sergio from Black Horse Forge. Would love to turn it over to him to share some slides and share more about his organization.
Thank you very much. I'll make it short so those people who have to leave at 1, they can hear both presentations. All right, let's see. All right, you guys see my screen? I'm not sure what screen you guys are seeing.
Yes, we got it.
Are you seeing the full screen or are you seeing my slides?
I am seeing a full screen with the Black Horse Forge on it.
All right, good. Okay. All right, so again, Sergio Rangel with Black Horse Forge. We're located, the address is 29 Utah Place, Suite 107, Fredericksburg, Virginia, but it's actually still in Stafford. I don't know how the lines work or whatever, but we're in between Courthouse Road in Stafford and Route 17 in Fredericksburg. We've been here at that location since the end of November. We were on a farm. We were trying to get longer hours, but because it was in a residential area, a little harder to get people to come in during the day and late at night. So our overall mission is to instruct veterans, active duty military, first responders, and their supporters meaning family members, friends. We allow them to come in with those 3 entities so they can learn. We're big on the buddy system, as every military member is, but we feel that it helps kind of break the seal of the going by yourself to bring someone else there. But we provide the art of blacksmithing and bladesmithing. As it says, the goal of providing a sense of accomplishment, mental and physical well-being, with the knowledge and experience to continue the craft on their own. Steve Hotz, who is the president, he started this with the idea of helping those with PTSD and TBI. And it's helped a lot of people. We don't talk about it often, but there's actually been about 5 people who have been saved just by coming to the Forge. Call late at night, like 3 or 4 o'clock in the morning. We've gone and lit the Forge up and just sit there and talk to them. So it's kind of cool. So the history, Steve Hotz, he started it back in 2018. He had a lot of blacksmithing equipment, and he's always had a big heart. Type of guy to give you a shirt off his back. So he started this organization, and it's been blossoming ever since. He, as well as everybody else that's on the cadre member, we're trying to become journeyman knife makers, and obviously later on to master bladesmith. So if you guys watch Forged in Fire, I'll tell a little bit more about how we're connected with Forged in Fire as well. So the board, Steve Hotz he's an Army veteran, as you saw. He's the president. I'm the vice president. I'm a Army veteran. I did 6 years active duty, and then I became a reservist. I hope to retire from the reserves in April of 2021. God willing, and the creek don't rise. Things go as planned. The director of Affiliate Forge, it's a forge down in Richmond. When we were in the transition from the farm and the current location, there were guys who were still wanting to come out, but we couldn't really figure that out. So we had a good relationship with a forge down in Richmond called Join or Die. They teach bladesmithing and blacksmithing as well, but on more of the civilian side, paid classes and everything. But we worked with them, and they were allowing some of our guys that would normally regularly come to the forge to come out and do their stuff down there. Secretary is Steve Hotz's wife. She currently works with the FBI. She does a lot of writing, which she is our main source for all the stuff that we want written right. We're a lot of ground and pound kind of guys that don't know how to read and write well. So we look to her to kind of make us look smart, sound smart at least. Amy Davis is our treasurer. She's a spouse of one of our cadre members who is a veteran. She's done a great job keeping us in line, making sure we don't spend too much of our funding, because the blacksmithing and bladesmithing world, a lot of the equipment, heavy equipment, costs a pretty penny. So she's been doing pretty good. So our staff, they're all veterans. The only service we don't have represented is Coast Guard. Not that we don't like them. It's just we haven't had someone come forward and say, hey, I'm a Coast Guard, and and interest in and teaching and have that knowledge to spread out. So these are some of our veterans. The cool thing about this organization at this point, it's all volunteer based. Our budget is somewhat non-existent. So we get, things here and there. And most of that time we're using it for to replace the sand belts or buy new metal to continue to do this stuff. All the heavy equipment, some of these guys know how to run it and fix it if it breaks. So the eventual goal is to find a forever home. So we have the funding for all this stuff. We have the funding to potentially, pay these guys to help volunteer more or get out there. Steve Hotz actually quit his job because he believes in the mission. Quit his job, and he does this full time. He drives from Alexandria all the way down to Stafford every day. 11 to 5 is the operational hours. So it's pretty dedicated, and we try to kind of help him out to make sure that his doors stay open. So enough about the staff. Let's talk about what we do. So we teach blacksmithing, bladesmithing, creating tomahawks. A lot of veterans love the war axe and tomahawk type stuff. And we also have the jewelry stuff. So some of our guys that come in and ladies come in, they can make jewelry for their loved ones as well. We get into the artsy stuff and the home decor. So a lot of good things we make a lot of good things. We're like I said, our budget is non-existent. We pretty much non-existent. We try to get funding by getting the word out, people who love what we do, onesies and twosies. Something as simple as a $30 donation helps actually keep the doors open for an open forge night. It'll actually turn the pay for a gas, a propane tank for to light the fire, to light the forge. So it's kind of cool. It's just, it doesn't take much, but at the same time, it does take a lot. Let's see. That's pretty much the short and sweet of it. I'll open up for any questions. I'm pretty sure you guys have quite a bit about what else we do and all that stuff. Actually, let me rewind. So I told you we are a part, I guess, we have a connection with Forged in Fire. So have you seen Forged in Fire on History Channel? Ben Abbott, he actually forges down in Richmond, which is the affiliate forge that we partnered with. He heard about the organization, what we do. So Forged in Fire has a series called Beat the Judges. So the idea for that series is one of the past winners come in. If they win against the judge, they win $10,000. If the judges win, they get $10,000 towards their charity of choice. Well, Ben Abbott chose us as his charity, and he won twice. So that put us on a national stage, so to speak. And we have, since then, we've had people fly from Washington State to come out and want to forge with us and learn. And I mean, just people all over. A guy from Phoenix, Arizona, who's trying to start up his own forge, kind of like Black Horse Forge. So he and his wife drove out on their vacation time to kind of just pick Steve's brain and my brain about how we've gone about doing this. So there's probably at least 10 in the last couple of months that have popped up, and they've all reached out to Steve and I to get something going. And we're hoping that if we continue to grow, we can have them as an affiliate forge and help them continue to grow as well. So everybody's not flying out just to us. We can find other locations near them with that same kind of goal. So with that, any questions from you guys?
I have a question.
Yes, ma'am.
What is the referral process for a veteran, like an agency like ours? How would we refer a veteran? How would you prefer it?
Just have them show up. Right now we don't really vet the veteran or the person that comes in the door. It's more of how a veteran kind of carries himself a different way. So when they come in, say, "Oh, I heard about you through this organization." All right, cool. Come on in. What do you need? We take them right under their wing and just treat them like one of our brothers. There's no I think we think that's the best process. There's no like, "Hey, sign this, just come on in. The doors are open."
Wow, that's amazing. Thank you.
I'm also curious, just to make sure, it's all veterans regardless of time of service or discharge status. And does this also include caregivers?
I don't know. Well, I guess if the caregiver is part of the veterans support group, I don't see why not. But yes, any status, no matter if for some reason you're a World War II veteran, you want to come in, or you've served a couple of days and you've heard about us and you're on active duty status or reserve, come on in. We treat you the same. Well, we may razz you a little bit. I know I get razzed for being a reservist, but it's all a part of the veteran lifestyle. You get razzed here and there, but yeah, it doesn't matter. And it was shocking to me that I found out that we were one of the few veteran organizations that actually let National Guard and Reserves in. It's mind blowing to me that they have such stringent rules. But yeah, it doesn't matter to us.
One more thing. I noticed on there, the last slide, you had different programs.
Yes. I'll go back. That one right there. This one?
Yes. How do you go about choosing the programs?
So we have an Eventbrite page I think the best way to get a hold of us is on our Facebook page, simple Black Horse Forge on Facebook, or you can find us on all the social media links on blackhorseforge.com. You can sign up for classes then, or our open Forge nights are 1 to 9 every Wednesday. And if you have an idea, you want to learn something, we got Cadre there to kind of help guide you along. That's their sole purpose for that night, is anybody that comes in that's new or that has a project that they've been working on for a while, is to guide them through the whole process. Like I said, we have classes that are going to be up on our Eventbrite, from everything from basic blacksmithing to an advanced knife maker class. We are going to open up eventually paid classes for civilians, and that funding will actually help. It's another avenue of us keeping the doors open, and it'll sponsor some open Forge nights as well.
And when will that be? The paid classes for civilians?
We're looking at March timeframe. We're still trying to hash everything out, make sure we do it right. So yeah.
Fantastic. Thank you.
You're welcome.
Looking at your website, I see it says for location, it says Alexandria. So are you
Okay.
located in Fredericksburg and Alexandria? Or are you?
No, so we were they have to update the address. So the previous address was at the farm. It was here in Stafford as well. Well, there was a huge falling out, and that's another reason why we had to kind of separate and move out. So that is a temporary address. That's actually Steve's address. I don't know why he put it on there, but he wanted at least a way for people to keep contacting with him. But it is that's why I said Facebook is probably the better location to get all your updated stuff. We also started a podcast. We've done 2 so far. It's a video podcast, just to kind of help keep the transparency open to all of our people that visit us about what we're doing and all that stuff.
Sergio, thank you so much for coming on. Obviously, we know skill building endeavors greatly increase the rate of recovery in a beneficial and empowering way. My 2 questions for you are: what are your current COVID protocols as we continue to run virtual and in-person events in Wounded Warrior Project? And also, what is your event-based capacity? So based on the size of the location, how many veterans in one or veterans family members can you have in your location?
With the current restrictions, especially the change, we were doing 20 at a time. We are considered somewhat of an educational, because we do nothing but training for the most part. So we don't really fall under the 10 person, but we try to keep social distancing as part of our our main goal. Masks. Some veterans don't want to wear masks, as you know. So we still try to at least do a shield. We have an event this weekend, actually, called Santa's Workshop. So that's going to give us a little bit more of a test on this stuff, especially with that many people. We have 20 people coming through in 2-hour increments, along with a cidery, a veteran-owned business that's going to be doing tastings and selling stuff as well, and a food truck. So that's gonna be more of a test for us, especially at the new location. But the cool thing is we're in an industrial area, so we have the shop on the inside, but the forges and the anvils are mobile, so we can pull them out and into the open. So that helps us kind of separate a little bit more, if that makes sense.
It does. Thank you so much.
And we have the capability of actually loading up a truck and going to a specific location. So if people can't leave, or if you have units that are want to do it, but they're so big, and we can kind of cycle them through it at a smaller rate. We have done that in the past.
I have one last question about who qualifies. How about veteran dependents?
We normally have the veteran dependent as usually as long as they're accompanied by the veteran.
Okay.
Yeah. My kids, actually my 8-year-old, he came to the Forge just as wanted to see what we'd done when I first started. I was working on my first knife. I turn around and Steve has him working on a decorative hook. and he was literally hooked from then on there, to the point where he comes to the forge on closed days, and we work on something. He started his own Etsy shop. So my relationship with him has blossomed even more because of the organization itself.
Thank you so much for sharing all this.
No problem.
Awesome. Thank you, Sergio, for being with us today. Definitely something that we can definitely refer to. I'm sure many military and veterans that each of us work with. I do want to say many of these organizations that are on this call are part of the Serving Together network that we can refer directly to. So we'd love to engage with you further about having the ability to refer to you directly for clients that each of these organizations are working with. So I know Amy and myself will want to follow up with you about that.
Absolutely. I'm here. I work from home. I'm a graphic designer. I sit here at home. I've been doing this for the last 4 years, sitting at home. So I'm always available. I've got 3 monitors. I got a Black Horse Forge monitor. I've got a work monitor, and I've got my communication with work and Black Horse Forge through our Slack channel. So I'm like going back and forth all day, every day.
I love it. Did you develop the logo?
No, that was actually Steve. Steve was also a graphic designer as well. He worked for a sign company, I think in Maryland, that did all the stuff for the Verizon Center. And then when Black Horse Forge really started rolling, they realized they needed more time there at the forge to help the guys coming in. Like I said, Steve's the kind of guy that give you a shirt off his back. So he and his wife talked about it, and they said, "Yeah, you're good." He had I think it was the beginning of this year. He just said, "Sure, let's do it." So he's been full time the whole time, 100 miles an hour. Even with his back problem, he had back surgery, but he pushes it to the limit, and then he knows when to stop. But at the same time, he's a hard charger.
Awesome. Well, we appreciate it. And the logo is great. Very
you.
awesome logo. So please pass on to Steve that it looks awesome.
Cool. Thank you.
Yeah, awesome. Well, thank you again for joining us. I want to turn it over to Kristen Benson with DVIC to share more about the amazing work that she does with them.
Thank you, Christy. All right, let me pull my screen up really quickly. I'm so bad with Zoom. Thank you for your patience. Hold on a second. Okay. I'm really sorry, you guys. My computer's being not awesome. There we go. Can you guys see the whole thing?
Yes, we can see it.
Perfect. Okay, great. So I'm Kristen Benson. I am a regional education coordinator with a Traumatic Brain Injury Center of Excellence, which was formerly DVIC, which was the Defense and Veterans Brain Injury Center. A lot of people are familiar with that acronym, and I don't think anybody actually knows like what it is, but now we're the TBICO, and we kind of fall under DHA, which is the Defense Health Agency. We focus primarily on active duty, but we do have partnerships with the VA. And we changed our name essentially to better align with DHA's new initiatives, and also to kind of fall more in line with, I'm sure you've heard of PICO, which is the Psychological Health Center of Excellence. And then of course we have the Vision and also the Hearing Centers of Excellence. So we just kind of wanted to put ourselves all in that same kind of nomen for recognition's sake. So I'm a social worker by formal training. And anytime I do these presentations, I really try to tailor it to my audience and make it relevant for them. So the disclaimer, of course, is that nothing that I say fully expresses the opinions of DHA, the Department of Defense, or any other government agency. Our contact information is down here at the bottom, DHA tbicoinfo@mail.mil. So the briefing agenda, again, I'm just going to tell you guys a little bit about TBICO, also some of the worldwide numbers in terms of traumatic brain injury, some of the basics, some of the tools that we have, and also some of the resources, which is really kind of the meat of this whole presentation. So TBICO, we were established by congressional mandate in 1992, subsequent to the Gulf War. We Our mission hasn't changed very much since 1992. It's pretty much still the same: to serve active duty military and veterans who have sustained a traumatic brain injury, to also care for their families. And the way we do that is through our research initiatives, innovation in clinical care, and also, of course, our educational products and programs, which is kind of that area that I cover. So we have 3 branches. I'm going to go through these parts like really fast because I like to get into kind of the meat and potatoes of what TBI code does and kind of not swim around in this stuff too much. So we have 3 branches: research, clinical affairs, and education. I, of course, belong to education. So we do TBI awareness, we do educational tools. We also do a lot of caregiver resources, and I teach providers, and I also teach, medics and corpsmen. I'm a corpsman myself in the reserves. I teach them the protocols on assessment and management, but I also kind of reach out to service members as a whole in terms of prevention and awareness, and patients for symptom management and coping. Clinical affairs, they basically do all of our clinical guidelines and recommendations. They also do TBI surveillance, so that's kind of like all of our data so we can plan patient outcomes. And then, of course, research, who kind of takes all of that raw data and sort of translates it into usable information. So worldwide numbers, right? So about 90%, little over, is a mild traumatic brain injury. And I'm going to tell you guys what that is in just a little bit. And then the rest are kind of the moderate to severe. And then, of course, we do have some penetrating. That primarily is more on the VA side of things. We don't see that as much, obviously, in active duty populations, because typically they'll be medically retired. So what is a traumatic brain injury as the DoD defines it, right? So in order for us to understand and to work with TBI and to plan, how are we going to treat it? How are we going to assess for it, et cetera? We have to have a definition that we have operationalized, right? So a traumatic brain injury is a structural injury or physiological disruption of brain function. So physical disruption of brain function as a result of external force that is indicated by new onset or worsening of at least one clinical sign. So what are the clinical signs? We have LOC, AOC, and PTA. So one is a loss of consciousness. Obviously, that means the person is out, right? The alteration of consciousness, that means that a person essentially has had, their bell rung, or they're kind of seeing stars. What you're going to see with people like this is maybe they just kind of seem like a little bit out of it. You ask them a question, they might seem a little bit lost. There might be some pause in the way they're speaking. They might have difficulty with recalling information. And then, of course, we have post-traumatic amnesia, PTA. So they might not remember what happened. And this is usually immediately following the concussive event. Right. So we categorize TBI in a couple of different ways of severity. This is how the DoD understands it. So we have mild, moderate, severe, and then, of course, we have penetrating as a subset of severe TBI. So mild is what we see the most often. Loss of consciousness would be less than 30 minutes. Alteration of consciousness would be less than 24 hours. And then that post-traumatic amnesia, that kind of forgetfulness piece, is going to be less than or equal to 24 hours. And as you can see, the criteria kind of goes up a little bit, with severe TBI being a loss of consciousness of greater than 24 hours. Signs and symptoms of TBI. Here's where I like to get really into the meat of things, because when we work with veterans, when we're working with service members, traumatic brain injury is a big problem in the military, and it's one that is not always diagnosed, one that's not always seen, and it can really look like something else. Oftentimes, and we'll get into it particularly if you kind of look down at the emotional criteria, anxiety, feelings of depression, emotional dysregulation, mood swings, etc., those things can very often look like behavioral health, right? And it could be, or it could also be a TBI that is exacerbating this. And sometimes that can even get worse if someone has, either not been diagnosed or treated for TBI. And it can also be worse if somebody maybe has multiple traumatic brain injuries. So for physical, and these are kind of like acute, but they can be lasting. So for physical, you're going to see headaches, sleep disturbances, maybe what we call vestibular issues. So that would be like dizziness and balance problems. Immediately following a concussion, sometimes we see nausea and vomiting. There will usually be fatigue, tinnitus or ringing in the ears, photosensitivity, which is a sensitivity to light or noise, and visual disturbances. In terms of cognition, again, like I said, there will be some of that slowed thinking, maybe a difficulty with finding words, making decisions, a little bit of confusion, and then of course memory loss, which can be in that sort of like acute, like immediate phase, and you will also see that kind of manifest in chronic phases also. In terms of emotional, again, it's possible to see emotional dysregulation. Sometimes there's a little bit of what we call disinhibition, which means that, you know, that filter isn't always there, right? Or we'll see a little bit of impulsivity. We can also see sometimes irritability, feelings of depression, and anxiety. So I really like this slide, and not to like beat a dead horse, but there's a reason why I tend to focus on this slide the most. And the reason why is, again, sometimes a TBI can look like something different. Whether we're talking about veteran populations or whether we're talking about active duty service member populations, what some of these symptoms can look like if they're not diagnosed is they can look like patterns of misconduct. They can look like behavioral health issues. They can look like simply a lack of volition, or they just don't want to perform well at work. And these can really impact ways that people getting a job, people keeping a job, right? Being able to go along with their activities of daily living, being able to fulfill their familial responsibilities. So it's important that we can be able to spot, if it's a possibility that this person has incurred a TBI. And I encourage you to think, and it's not something that TBI Co covers a lot, so it comes a lot with your personal inference. Where else someone can incur head trauma when they're like in active duty, for example, or as a veteran. So chronic homelessness, where there is definitely a higher rate of assault, for example, intimate partner violence, assault of any kind, bar fights. Things like this are sexual assault, MST. These are places where people can still incur head trauma, and sometimes it's not necessarily mentioned or brought up. And even if it is, it's mentioned to a different provider than a medical provider, right? So it might be coming to JAGs, it might be coming to chaplains, etc. So differences between TBI and PTSD, right? So similar things that we're going to see, right, are going to be, again, insomnia, trouble with memory and attention, feelings of depression, irritability, anxiousness, fatigue, and then they kind of diverge. So when we're looking at something like PTSD or something that's like a behavioral health issue, obviously we're going to see someone that what we call hypervigilance, or that high alert, someone who's startled easily. They might be fearful, they might have flashbacks, feelings of guilt. They might avoid certain people, situations, things that might make them recall the stressful event, emotional numbing, self-destructive behaviors. And then on the other side, possible symptoms of TBI, certain physiological occurrences are going to happen in TBI that you might not necessarily see with behavioral health. So that would be like photosensitivity, which is sensitivity to light. Chronic headaches, dizziness, and balance problems. If you see someone who tends to like drop things, and I know we have an OT here, so feel free to chime in with this piece of it. I know, yeah. Yeah. So like, vestibular issues, right? Like, somebody's like, they drop things, or they're running into kind of like door frames and stuff like that. That could be an indicator that somebody's had or had multiple head traumas, as opposed to behavioral health. And then of course, we will also, or sometimes we have vision changes, and that impulsivity, which can be a behavioral health issue, but it can also definitely be, particularly if there's some kind of like structural injury to the prefrontal cortex, which is in the front right here. And that is typically, that's kind of our filter. Does anybody have any questions so far? No? Okay. All right, so expectations for recovery. This is really important. This is why TBI Co really, really tries to get awareness out there, and we try to let people know what a TBI is and how we can treat it. Because when we can treat them quickly, That's when we see the best possible recovery. Usually they're going to heal within days or weeks when you follow a graduated return to activity. And so that means, you know, over those next couple days, we give them a rest period and then we gradually increase their activities, like going back to the gym, things that are cognitively increasing difficulty with cognition, right? So, you know, more complex, sorry, I got totally distracted. Somebody walked in my office. More complex cognitive things like, thank you. Okay. Potential complications to recovery after sustaining multiple concussions. These symptoms may be more severe with each additional concussion, and each additional concussion may take longer to resolve. So it's really important we know that if someone has multiple concussions, we can help them with that. We usually tend to tack on a little bit of the recovery process. The DoD policy, I'm not going to go over this too much. We do mandate 24 hours of rest immediately following a concussion, and we usually put people on profile for that. And we're not going to go over that. So, okay, the resources. Here's what we have. And as a social worker, trained as a social worker, I love doing this part. This is my bread and butter. I love doing case management kind of stuff. So if you have vets who you think might have had a TBI, please, please, please send me an email. I'm happy to help you out. I'm happy to, you know, talk to you about sort of the progression into polytrauma teams, how referrals work within the VA, et cetera. And also I'm happy to educate people, and I'm also happy to do in-services for any organization that you have. We do have these really great patient fact sheets, and I also have hard copy and digital things, brochures for families, how to cope with symptoms, how to cope with caregiving. I also have a return to school, which is one that I push really, really hard because with the memory problems that people have with traumatic brain injury, they don't always realize that those issues with memory, cognition, paying attention, they don't always realize that that might be connected to a TBI, and they especially don't realize that there's help for that. So if someone does have a TBI, we can get them what we call letters of accommodation, et cetera, which means that we can get them extra time on homework, we can get them extra time on tests, including standardized tests, and we can also get them accommodations, for example, where they would be able to wear, you know, tents, which would be kind of sunglasses indoors, so that, you know, the lights don't bother them or distracting or give them headaches. And again, these are the patient fact sheets. So these are things that I have in both hard copy and digital copy. The hard copies, I have a metric ton of these. So if you want some of them, I am happy to give them to you. I will even bring them to you. Please get them out of my office. So I have them on healthy sleep. I have them on headaches, ways to improve memory, changes in behavior. And these are just like educative pieces that you can give to people so that they can kind of understand what is completely normal with a TBI. And it is important, I feel, for the emotional well-being and quality of life for people to be able to kind of normalize what they're experiencing and let them know that it is very normal and that they're not alone. And again, more educational resources on our fact sheets. And here's our back to school guide and all of my family caregiver stuff. I have some really good ones. And then also for those of you that are working with veterans, if you happen to know vets who have had severe or moderate traumatic brain injury, these can really, really cause a profound change in someone's behavior and who they are, sometimes changes in personality, and that can be really trying on the family. So I have a Talking with Children about moderate or severe TBI. So if that's something that you feel like might be useful, I have a ton of these as well. Please reach out. I'm happy to provide those. And that's it. Does anyone have questions? I'm happy to answer.
Hey, this is Sergio. Very interesting. I had an incident 2016 when I was deployed. And I get screened, but they said I had nothing wrong with me. But some of the stuff you were mentioning is starting to make sense. So yeah, I'll definitely look back at your slide and get a little more information and reach out to you.
Yeah, please do. Actually, do you see my email address in the chat box?
I do. Yep.
Okay, great. Yeah.
Any other questions for Kristen?
Yes. Hi, Kristen. Thank you so much for the information that you provided. I wanted to ask you, how long do you work with the person or the family? Do you have a short period of time? There is a cost associated with this or not?
So the answer is it depends. If we get them quickly enough, or if the brain injury is mild, then sometimes it's as short as like a few days, right? The recovery process can be very quick. We make sure we do this thing called exertional testing, where we will test, physical, we will test cognitive ability, and we measure through what we call biofeedback, how difficult it is for that veteran to complete these tasks, right? So we'll look at heart rate, we'll look at blood pressure, which are these very objective measures to know if it's stressing somebody out, right? At other times, it takes a little bit longer, and we will have them in here for a little bit longer. So sometimes it can be 6 months. It can be even longer than that. And with polytrauma, which are the VA programs, those can be, depending on the severity of the TBI, sometimes those can be for life. So that's why resources and making sure that all those networks are kind of connected is so important.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kristen,
Oh, my pleasure, Christy. Thank you.
Yeah, attending today. I know we've had some presentations in the past, and sharing of resources through you. I didn't realize that you guys had a name change to TBI Co.
It just happened.
Which I'm so excited about. I love the new name. I think that makes total sense. And I think there's so much work that's been done to align everything under DHA, and we've had some of the other departments within DHA come out to present as well, which has been great. So it's exciting to understand, how everybody fits in together, and then obviously the work that you guys are doing with all of that. So
thank you, Christy.
Yeah, so thank you for being here today. And I know I constantly learn new things every time I understand more about TBI. And, there's so many that don't recognize that they could have, I think of like the Navy. I literally just went to Charleston not too long ago, and I toured the USS Yorktown. So I think of the Navy and walking around on one of those ships, and like these small crevices that they go into, like knocking their head can very easily happen. And they not realize that it, like you said, rung the bell. And it, could have impacts for their life. And they just need some treatment to really help them to support, where they're at now, and it could be long-term damage that's had to their head that they can help, get some support from, and better understand, the diagnosis too, I think is really important.
That normalization is so important, especially when you start seeing like the intersection, of behavioral health and TBI. That's when it really starts to get sticky. And also the piece where, again, sometimes it looks like when people don't know, it looks like they don't want to do stuff right. They don't want to get up on time, or it can look like conduct kind of stuff, right? Or volition kind of stuff. And when we're talking about, it all kind of ties in together when we're talking about things like employment, right? We're talking about keeping a job, getting a job, et cetera. So it's really important that we're keeping an eye out. And I think especially in those kind of more vulnerable populations, because it's not always training or combat where we see TBI, right? So that's the part that I really try to drive home with people who work in sort of those psychosocial support roles. Also, and Christy, I'll mention this like again coming up, but I'm partnering with Ohio State University to do what we call Neuro Nights, and that they're doing a whole military month of workshops and it's going to be virtual. I'm almost sure of it. So, Maryland and the surrounding area is going to be also invited. So I'll make sure that you guys know about that, and they can, if you know anybody that wants to attend those workshops, vets, their families, or, kind of the support services also. And then of course, TBICO is going to be doing Brain Injury Awareness Month, and we're going to be doing some provider kind of stuff and support services kind of stuff. So I'll make sure that everybody gets invited to that if people want to come.
Awesome. That would be great. Yeah, please share those, and we're happy to spread the word.
All right, awesome. I'm going to jet. I really appreciate everyone's time today. Christy, thanks so much for having me.
Yep. Thanks, Kristen. Great to see you.
Thank you. Bye.
All right. Well, with that, obviously want to open it up to see if there's any updates, announcements, things that need to be shared. I did get an email from Chris Duffley with a job opportunity for Red Cross. Mary, do you want to share anything about it?
Sure. So we have an opening up at our Walter Reed office. It's technically called a Service Armed Forces Specialist or the Assistant Station Manager. So there are only 2 staff up at Walter Reed. The rest are supported by volunteers. It would be covering the office up there, all the programs that are associated with the Red Cross Service Armed Forces at Walter Reed, which is massive. The position is also considered mobile. So there, I want to say every couple of years, there are, 7?
It says deployable.
I think 9 of us. Yes. So it's a deployable position, which means it's a 4-month deployment, which could send you anywhere overseas. They don't give us specifics about where you would go. It's a little bit new for our region. It's just changed. We only had 1 mobile position. Now we have 3, and that is one of them. So there is health screening, immunizations, all of that you would have to go through in addition to a security clearance for the position. But it's a great position. We all work very closely together. Chris is my boss. He oversees Walter Reed, Fort Belvoir, another Silver Spring person, and then our new region, because we just expanded, also 2 people in the Chesapeake region. So that's it for all of us. Really, good group of people to work with. We all support each other. So if anyone's interested or know someone who's interested, please pass it along.
That's awesome. It'd be kind of cool to have a deployment overseas somewhere for a few months.
Yeah, you actually, I believe, depending on where you're going, because we've had people in Djibouti, Afghanistan, Romania, Poland, you name it, they go there, and you do wear a uniform. So there is a Red Cross, you're non-combative, you don't hold, you don't carry a weapon, but it's clearly indicated that you're Red Cross, but a lot of times you're in, and you're not staying in a hotel, you are staying in the same area that military would stay in. So it's kind of cool.
Thanks, Mary. Appreciate you sharing more about that. I'll share the link to you guys too, if you want to spread the word to anybody. In Serving Together, there's also hiring as well. We're hiring for a veteran peer navigator, full-time position. Right now it is remote 100%, but ultimately the position reports out of Rockville. So someone within the DMV area would be appropriate, because they'll have to go there to pick up equipment and things like that. So, but if you're interested or have someone that's interested, please let us know, and I'll post the link to that job opportunity in the chat in just a moment. Other updates, I know Mallory joined in. Mallory, you want to say hi?
Hi, everybody. Sorry I was late. For those that don't know me, my name is Mallory Lass. I am the outreach manager for the Cohen Veterans Network, or not Cohen Veterans, tired, long day, the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic at Easter Seals. Our parent organization is the Cohen Veterans Network. We are one of 19 clinics nationwide. Our clinic serves DC, Maryland, Virginia, and now West Virginia. We're really excited about this expansion into West Virginia. We offer mental health services for the entire military and veteran families. That includes the active service member, veterans of any era or any discharge, family as defined by the service member. So we're truly flexible in that. We've seen caregivers with or without official designation. We have seen parents, adult children, dating partners. Family is defined by the service member, and we want to take care of everybody. Our goal is to remove barriers to care and make accessible mental health available to the entire family. We do individual, couples, family counseling. In addition, we do wellness opportunities and have tons of different offerings. Next week on Tuesday, we are partnering with Community Building Artworks for a wonderful workshop. It's going to be a creative writing class. If you can think it, you can write it, and they will help you through that entire process. It's a ton of fun, really nice stress break before the holidays. Coming next year, we have lots of great opportunities. We are partnering with Toastmasters for an organization specifically to veterans and their families, as well as service members. That is 100% hybrid at the moment. Well, it will be hybrid, 100% virtual. So anybody anywhere in the world can join us should they choose to. But lots of great events. If you have any questions about the Cohen Clinic, I'll put my contact information in the chat box. But happy holidays, everybody. So great to see you all.
Awesome. Thanks, Mallory. I also saw Chelsea joined in. Do you want to say hi, Chelsea?
Hi, I'm just the art therapy intern with Alyssa at Workhouse, the Military and Arts Initiative there.
Awesome. Hi, Chelsea, and hi, Alyssa. Alyssa, do you want to say hi too?
Sure, yes, thank you. Hi, everyone. Sorry we were a little bit late. Like Kelsey said, I'm the art therapist for the Workhouse Military and the Arts Initiative located at the Workhouse Art Center in Lorton. We provide free mental health and arts engagement for service members, their family members, caregivers, and my job is to provide both individual or group art therapy. Kelsey and I recently added a new program. We have our weekly open studio for veterans, and the second Saturday is for families, but now we have created a Thursday night open studio for dependents. That is for 12 to 18-year-olds, and we are currently meeting in person. Tonight we are meeting virtually, but at the start of the new year, we will be going back to in person. This is limited to 8 dependents at the moment, and all they have to do to sign up is just email me and come together and create art and just have a great time and space for them to engage with their peers. Kelsey and I are also working on developing a spouse therapy group for the spring, and then other new virtual workshops to kind of go with what it is that is needed during this time. So stay tuned for that. You can follow us on Facebook, and I'll put all the information in the chat.
Awesome. Thanks, Alyssa and Chelsea. Glad you guys are here. We also had someone call in. I think this was a different number than the one earlier. Are you there? Do you want to say hi? I know it's always hard with phones. I think you have to do *6 or something to talk. So if you can, say hi. If not, we're glad you're here and listening in. All right. Any other updates from the rest of our collaborative members? Anything else you guys want to share or update as we approach the holidays?
I wanted to mention that the Financial Empowerment Center is going to be closed beginning next week until the end of the year. So we still have our website and everything. So if somebody is interested to schedule an appointment, everything is confidential. We are working with the community. So please feel free to send them to our website or shoot me an email if you have any question. Thank you.
Awesome. Thanks, Maria Jose. And I hope that you guys have a nice little break. Awesome. Well, I think that's it. I'll pass it back to Amy, Mary, if you guys have any closing remarks or anything you want to say before we wrap up.
Nope, just happy holidays, everybody. Get some rest and take some time off and enjoy the holidays.
And I just want to thank everybody for today. As you can see, I'm busy writing everybody's contact information down. I'm really looking forward to working with all of you in the future. And happy holidays to everybody.
Awesome. Thank you guys so much. Thank you, Sergio.
Thank you.
Everyone closes out. Maria, Jose, I don't think I saw your email on the chat. I just want to grab it real quick.
Let me put it there.
Okay, thank you.
Christy, this is recorded, right? Are you going to send us the link to the recording?
Yes. Yes.
Awesome.
We recorded it and we'll send out the link. We upload it to our YouTube page, so you can always look at our old meetings too. We record them and share them all the time.
Awesome. Sounds great.
And I place our website as well.
I appreciate it. Thank you so much.
No problem. Anytime.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, guys.
Happy holidays. Thank you.
Happy holidays. Happy
Bye.
New Year.
Bye.